Hey everyone. Let's talk about something real. That person you carry around? That's your old self. It's the thoughts you repeat day in and day out, the emotions you keep reliving, the memories you just won't, or can't, seem to release. And as long as you're carrying all that, your reality simply can't change in the way you want it to. Now, this weight isn't always physical, is it? Most of the time, it's invisible, a silent, heavy load you've probably carried for years. But it's there. You feel it in that tightness in your chest some mornings, or in that nagging voice in your head that always whispers, "Don't expect too much, don't get your hopes up." It's there in the patterns you swore you'd never repeat, but somehow, you did anyway. This old self lives deep in your nervous system, in your body's chemistry, in all those tiny micro-decisions you make without even thinking. It's not just a collection of past events, it's a frequency. And like a song stuck on an endless loop, your old self just plays over and over, while your dreams, your true desires, wait on pause. Now, here's something that almost no one really tells you, or at least not in this direct way: you absolutely cannot step into your new life while still being loyal to the energy, the frequency, of your past. Most people don't realize this. They try to manifest by thinking differently, by visualizing, by scripting their ideal future. But underneath all that conscious effort, they're still being the same person. They're still waking up in the same old emotional state, still replaying the same story about who they are and what's possible for them, still expecting the world to somehow magically shift while they stay energetically identical to who they were yesterday. Let's just get brutally honest for a second. That identity, your old self, it was built for one primary thing: survival. It was crafted during times of pain, in response to rejection, failure, or deep disappointment. You didn't choose it consciously, it was a reaction, a defense mechanism, a mask you learned to wear to navigate a challenging world. But over time, that mask became incredibly familiar, almost comfortable in its discomfort. You eventually forgot it was even a mask. And now, it just feels like you. But what if it isn't? What if that persistent voice in your head that tells you you're not ready, or that something is too risky, or that you don't deserve it, what if that isn't the truth? What if it's just the lingering voice of a past version of you that you haven't fully released yet? Quantum physics teaches us something truly revolutionary about this. It tells us that reality doesn't exist independently, out there. It responds directly to the observer, to your state of being, your dominant frequency. You are not separate from the quantum field, you are the field, collapsed into the form you call you. So, every single time you wake up and unconsciously embody that old self, guess what the universe delivers? More of the same. Not because you're cursed, not because you're doing it wrong, but because the field is fundamentally loyal to coherence. And you are the tuning fork. You don't manifest what you merely want, you manifest who you are consistently being. That's why this deep work, this transformative journey, isn't really about becoming someone new. It's about unbecoming everything you're not. Your old self, bless its heart, wants to keep you safe. But safety, in the way it defines it, is not your soul's ultimate purpose. Stagnation is not your destiny. That heavy identity you've carried for so long, the one shaped by trauma, shame, failure, or rejection, that is not the version of you who lives the incredible reality you've glimpsed in your highest visions, in your deepest dreams. That future reality is waiting for you. And it already exists, not in some distant, far-off future, but in a parallel vibration, in a frequency that you align to, not chase after. But here's the hard truth we have to face: you absolutely cannot access that new reality while you are still emotionally, chemically addicted to your past. You can't keep reliving guilt, resentment, or self-doubt and expect genuine expansion. You can't keep showing up as yesterday's version of yourself and expect to collapse a timeline you've never vibrationally met. So, what do we do? How do we break this cycle? Well, in this video, we are going to break this very loop. We're going to meet that old self, not to judge it, not to criticize it, but to understand it, and then, to consciously release it. We'll honor what it taught us, what it helped us survive, and then, together, we'll let it go. Together, we will enter the quantum field, not just with words or intentions, but with our entire vibration. And I'll guide you in a process of collapsing the energetic imprint of that past so you can finally, fully inhabit the version of you who already lives the life you've been asking for. Because the field isn't asking you to try harder, it's waiting for you to tune in differently. You are not stuck because your future isn't real. You're stuck because your current identity keeps collapsing the same old reality, over and over again. But once you shift that, once you release the weight, the wounds, the limiting labels, you'll witness something truly extraordinary. Life will begin to bend. Reality will reconfigure. The field will respond, not because of what you said, but because of what you became. Now, just take a breath. Can you feel it? Something is already stirring. And it's not coming from outside of you, it's awakening from deep within. Are you ready to meet the version of you that's already free? Let's continue. You wake up. Same bed, same thoughts, often the same internal narrative already whispering through your mind before you even open your eyes. I hope today is different, you might think. But the moment your feet hit the floor, your body, your subconscious, has often already chosen otherwise. Why? Because long before your conscious mind even begins to try and create your day, your subconscious identity has already taken over the controls. You don't just step into a new day, you often step right back into an old self, again and again. The body remembers. It remembers who you've been, not just as a mental memory, but as biology. Emotions, repeated over time, become neurochemical patterns. Behaviors become deeply ingrained, automatic habits. And over time, you stop truly responding to the present moment with fresh eyes, you simply replay the past, over and over, until the present stops feeling alive and just starts feeling like a constant state of déjà vu. According to Dr. Joe Dispenza, by the time you're about 35 years old, a staggering 95% of who you are is a set of memorized behaviors, emotional reactions, unconscious habits, hardwired attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions. In other words, most of what you currently call you isn't really the conscious, present you, it's programming. It's conditioning. It's that old self, and it's running the show, mostly on autopilot. Dr. Bruce Lipton expands on this beautifully. He teaches that the moment you change your perception is the moment you literally rewrite the chemistry of your body. Which means that who you're being, chemically, emotionally, energetically, is actively writing the script of the reality you're living. This is why real, lasting change can feel so incredibly hard. Because you're not just trying to shift a thought, you're trying to shift an emotional addiction your body has developed toward being that particular version of you, the self who, perhaps, expects disappointment, who's always prepared for abandonment, who doesn't truly believe, deep down, that they're worthy of really big, amazing things. Not because they're inherently broken, but because somewhere long ago, their system decided it was safer to expect less, to play small. You didn't consciously choose to live this way. But at some point, your system, in its attempt to protect you, decided that suffering, or limitation, or struggle, was familiar. And what's familiar can often become equated with safe, even if it hurts. This is the real prison, not the outer world, but the identity we're often terrified to leave behind, even when it's making us sick, even when it's stealing our joy, even when we know, deep down in our core, that it's not who we truly are. So, let me ask you, with all the compassion in the world, not with any judgment, what emotions do you feel most often in your day-to-day life? Is it regret? Anger? Shame? Insecurity? Persistent doubt? What if those emotions aren't just random occurrences? What if they're actually rehearsed states? What if your body has become chemically addicted to those very signals because they reinforce the familiar chemical identity of that old self? And if that's true, what kind of reality do you think that emotional broadcast is consistently attracting and creating? Here's the brutal, honest truth that most people never truly confront: your old self is not just a memory, it's a powerful magnetic field. And the quantum field is constantly listening, not to your affirmations if they're just empty words, not to your vision board if it's just pretty pictures, but to the emotional signature you carry, 24/7. You may say you want love, but if your baseline emotional state is, I am not enough, you will, on some level, repel genuine intimacy. You may visualize abundance, but if your emotional home is one of fear or scarcity, you will unconsciously block or miss opportunities. Not because you don't deserve them, but because your nervous system has not yet updated to the version of you who is truly, deeply aligned with receiving them. That's why you can read all the books, take all the courses, repeat all the mantras, and still feel completely stuck. Because true healing, true transformation, isn't just mental, it's vibrational, it's embodied, it's cellular. So, what now? How do we begin to shift this? First, we bring conscious awareness to this pattern. Not to shame it, not to beat ourselves up over it, but simply to see it, to recognize that who you've been is not a fixed, unchangeable reality. It's a practiced vibration, a habit of being, one that you can choose to stop rehearsing the very moment you decide to no longer identify with it. This isn't about self-hate, this is about profound self-liberation. It's about giving yourself permission to finally stop carrying the immense weight of a version of you that only ever existed to survive a version of the world that, for you, no longer needs to exist. And here's the beautiful paradox: the moment you start to observe your old self without merging with it, when you can witness it from the compassionate eyes of your higher self, you become the observer. And in quantum terms, that changes everything. The observer collapses the wave. The moment you become aware of your old self as merely a pattern, you are no longer defined by the pattern, you are the consciousness watching the pattern. And that awareness, that conscious witnessing, that's the first crucial crack of light that allows a whole new reality to begin to emerge. So now, I ask you to engage with me, but not just by liking this video or subscribing to the channel. I want something deeper from you, for you. Take a moment, right now, and comment below with this exact phrase: I am ready to release the version of me that no longer matches my future. Not as some empty ritual, not as a trend, but as a genuine declaration, a conscious interruption in the old loop, a clear signal to the field that you are no longer available for the past. And if this message is truly touching something in you, something old, something sacred, something that's stirring from deep within, then I warmly invite you to subscribe, not just to this channel, but to this new frequency. This space isn't just about information, it's about genuine transformation. And if you're ready for that kind of shift, you are exactly where you're meant to be. We've all been told to ask, to believe, to visualize. And yet, so many of us find ourselves still waiting for something to finally click, for the money to arrive, for the right person to appear, for that big breakthrough to finally happen. And when it doesn't, we question ourselves, don't we? We wonder if we're doing it wrong, if we're somehow blocked, if maybe, just maybe, we're not meant for more. But what if the problem isn't that your desire is too big, or that you're not trying hard enough? What if the real issue is that your vibration is still too familiar, too anchored in the past? Here's the truth that most manifestation teachings unfortunately leave out, or don't emphasize enough: the quantum field doesn't respond to your words alone. It doesn't react to your beautifully crafted vision board. It doesn't even really care what you say you want. It mirrors back only one thing, with perfect precision: your state of being. This is the fundamental law of vibrational coherence. In quantum terms, coherence is when your heart, your mind, your emotions, and your actions are all aligned, all singing the same song, all pointing in the same direction. It's that energetic yes the universe is patiently waiting for. Not the kind of yes that you just write in a journal or speak aloud once in the morning, but the kind of deep, resonant yes that is embodied, felt, lived, consistently, from your core. You simply cannot out-manifest your dominant frequency. The field doesn't hear, "I want abundance," if your cells are screaming, "I am not enough." It doesn't see your dream home if your emotional body is living inside a constant state of fear or anxiety. It doesn't notice your desire for deep, soulful love if your emotional home base is one of loneliness, jealousy, or unworthiness. Not because the field is cruel or unfair, but because it is exact. It is a perfect mirror. Think of the quantum field like this: you look in a mirror. You don't just raise your hand and expect the reflection to raise the other hand, or to smile if you're frowning. You have to genuinely shift your own state first for the reflection to accurately follow. The issue is, most of us are trying to manifest from our current, often limited, identity. We're using the lens of who we are now to try and access a timeline that actually belongs to a completely different, more expanded version of us. But the future you, the one who is already living the life you truly want, they don't just think differently, they are different. They feel different. They walk into rooms differently. They speak from a deeper, more resonant place. They've shifted from a state of wanting to a state of being, from hoping to embodying. Let's break it down even more, perhaps a bit scientifically. Every thought you think sends out an electrical signal. Every emotion you feel radiates a magnetic charge. Together, your thoughts and emotions create a distinct vibrational broadcast, like a unique radio signal, constantly transmitting a message out to the quantum field. And that message, fundamentally, is not what you want, it's who you are being. So, ask yourself honestly, what are you broadcasting right now? Is your inner frequency truly congruent with the reality you say you're ready for? Or are you still, perhaps unconsciously, broadcasting frequencies of lack, fear, doubt, and impatience, while simultaneously trying to tune into a timeline that's built on foundations of gratitude, trust, joy, and abundance? Imagine trying to listen to a soul-stirring symphony, but your radio is still stubbornly set to a static-filled station. That's what it's like when your old self, your old frequency, tries to reach for a new timeline. And it's not just about positive thinking, that's often just surface level. This is about energetic truth. Because the universe, the field, doesn't respond to what's merely on your lips, it responds to what's vibrating in your nervous system, in your cells. One of the most powerful insights from Heisenberg and the observer effect in quantum physics is this: the act of observing collapses potential into form. But here's the critical twist: it's not just that you observe reality, it's who you are being while you are observing that determines what actually collapses into your experience. Neville Goddard said it beautifully: you are not manifesting, you are selecting. And who you're being is the selector. Just let that sink in. You are not attracting a future from afar, you are tuning into one, selecting it, aligning with it. But you can't truly align with something your current self has never vibrationally met. That's why the shift, the real work, is profoundly internal. You become the version of you that naturally, effortlessly attracts what you've been trying so hard to chase. You don't pull things in, you pull yourself up to their frequency. This is why manifestation efforts without deep identity work will almost always feel like pushing a massive boulder uphill. You're trying to build a magnificent future on the unstable foundation of an outdated self. And it doesn't matter how beautiful the blueprint is if the ground underneath hasn't shifted, the structure will inevitably collapse. So here's the question that matters far more than any vision board or affirmation list: who do I need to become to be a vibrational match to what I desire? Not in the future, but right now, in this very moment, in thought, in feeling, in action, in complete embodiment. Because when you become, the universe reflects. Not gradually, but instantly, though not always in physical form right away, but certainly in energy, in signs, in synchronicities, in subtle sensations. You'll know because you'll feel it, that gentle, undeniable pull that says you've tuned into something real, something true. You'll stop feeling like you're trying so incredibly hard, and you'll start feeling like you're simply in the right place, at the right time, doing the right thing, as the right, authentic version of you. And that, my friends, that's when the field truly begins to bend in your favor. Are you ready to discover who your future self already is? You don't need to create the new you actually need to remember them. There's a version of you, right now, who already lives in the perfect frequency of everything you've ever asked for. Not some far-off future version, not a hypothetical ideal, but a very real, very alive self that already exists, right now, as a potential in the quantum field. And the only thing that truly separates you from that fully realized version is your current vibration. Now, this might sound a bit radical, but quantum physics has been telling us for decades that reality is not strictly linear, and time is not fixed in the way we perceive it. You are not just walking down a straight, unchangeable line from point A to point B, slowly, painstakingly building towards some future self. What actually exists is a vast, infinite field of, now, moments, all occurring simultaneously, all available to you, depending on what frequency you tune into. In quantum language, we sometimes call this the multiverse. In spiritual language, we might call it divine potential or the mind of God. Either way, the core message is the same: the you who is thriving, healed, empowered, and magnetic is not on the way, they are already here, existing in a different frequency, a different vibrational pattern, a different state of being. And your task is not to chase after them, your task is to collapse the energetic distance between where you are now and who they already are, by becoming vibrationally compatible with them. But let's pause for a moment, because this isn't just some abstract philosophy, this is deeply practical. So, ask yourself this: if your highest self, that fully realized version of you, were already living inside of you, right now, what would they be thinking? How would they breathe? How would they walk, speak to strangers, handle money, face the unknown? Would they still be clinging to those old doubts? Would they still be replaying that painful story of rejection from years ago? Would they be settling for less because they think, well, maybe this is all I get? No. Absolutely not. Your higher self vibrates from a place of innate trust, profound alignment, grounded confidence, and a magnetic, serene calm. They don't manifest through desperate effort, they attract through effortless coherence. Their energy speaks volumes before they even utter a word. And everything in their life, from their relationships to their health to their sense of purpose, responds accordingly. Because here's a truth that most people unfortunately miss: the universe doesn't rearrange itself around you simply because you're worthy, which you are, by the way, inherently. It rearranges itself because you're resonant. And resonance isn't something you beg for or try to earn, it's something you consciously become. That's why the most powerful shift you can make today isn't something external, it's entirely internal. It's choosing to stop identifying with the old, limiting story and consciously start aligning with the new, expansive one. And you do this not because it's already physically here in your hands, but because you've decided to meet it vibrationally. You walk first, with faith and embodiment, and then the path appears beneath your feet. So, let's go even deeper with this. Take a moment right now, if you can, and close your eyes. Imagine yourself walking into a room. And the version of you who already lives the life you desire is standing there. Feel their presence, not as something distant or mystical, but as someone deeply familiar. Because they are you. They've always been you, just patiently waiting for you to remember. Look at how they carry themselves, the ease in their shoulders, the unmistakable light in their eyes, the clarity and confidence in their voice. They don't need to convince anyone of anything, they simply radiate their truth. They've let go of all that heavy weight. They've burned those old, limiting scripts. They've consciously collapsed the version of themselves that was built on fear. And in its place, they've allowed a new, authentic identity to fully emerge. And now, ask them, this radiant version of you, what did you let go of to become this free? Because the new self isn't built by just adding more positive thoughts or affirmations on top of the old, it's revealed by subtracting, by courageously peeling away all those layers of programming, pain, and pretense, until all that's left is your pure essence, your soul, your truth, your perfect alignment. This is the shift. You are not becoming something you're not, you are remembering something you've always been. You are not constructing a brand new reality from scratch, you are tuning into one that already exists as a vibrant potential. And here's where it gets truly magical. The moment you do that, the moment you stop identifying with that old, limiting frequency and start consistently vibrating as your new, authentic self, the field responds. Suddenly, at first, it might be just a thought you've never had before, a new perspective. Or maybe a person reaches out unexpectedly. Or you get an intuitive pull towards something your old self would have completely ignored or dismissed. The more you follow that intuitive flow, the more that new timeline begins to stabilize and solidify around you. You start to notice synchronicities, those meaningful coincidences, those little openings and opportunities, because you're no longer on the frequency of resistance, you're on the frequency of joyful reception. And here's the most beautiful part of all, that old self doesn't have to be destroyed or fought against. It just has to be lovingly retired, thanked for its service, honored for the lessons it taught you, and then gently released. Because it was never bad, it was just outdated, like an old operating system that kept you functional but ultimately limited your freedom and expansion. So, let it go now, and fully step into the self who already knows how this beautiful story ends, the self who's already walking in perfect alignment with the future you once thought you had to chase. You are not attracting your new life from a distance, you are aligning with the version of you that is already living it. Are you ready to truly meet them, to be them? Let's not just talk about change anymore, let's feel it. Let's become it. Because no amount of information, no profound insight, no powerful teaching, no matter how incredible it is, will ever truly transform your life unless it becomes fully embodied. This is where the shift stops being a concept and becomes your real, lived experience. This is where that new timeline truly stabilizes, through intentional ritual, through energetic declaration, through a full body, full being choice. Right now, you're going to guide yourself into what we can call a quantum identity reset. Not by force, not by trying hard, but by consciously collapsing the identity that no longer serves your highest future and intentionally stepping into the one that already does. Let's begin. Step 1. Name the old self. You can't let go of what you don't first consciously recognize. So, take a moment and give your old identity a name. It could be a single word, a nickname, even a symbol, something that truly captures the essence of who you've been, the you that's been looping through patterns of fear, doubt, or limitation. Maybe it's the doubter, the overachiever who never feels good enough, the one who always settled. Whatever name comes to you intuitively, claim it now. And then, speak to that identity, silently or aloud. Thank it. It kept you alive. It helped you survive. But it's not the one who will carry you forward into your brilliant future. Step 2. The ritual of release. Visualize yourself carrying that old version of you, perhaps like a heavy backpack you've been lugging around, or like that image from this video, dragging a heavy suitcase filled with old memories, limiting stories, and outdated patterns. And now, in your mind's eye, see yourself stopping, consciously taking off that backpack, setting down that heavy suitcase. You don't need to destroy it or fight it, you just need to release it, to lovingly detach from it. Picture yourself walking away, lighter, taller, clearer. You've just collapsed the energy that kept you bound. And in doing so, you've freed up immense space in your energetic field for a new, higher frequency to emerge and take root. Step 3. Embody the new self. Who are you now? Feel it, in this very moment. Stand or sit in the posture of the version of you who already lives in perfect alignment, the one who trusts their intuition implicitly, the one who radiates an unshakable peace, the one who no longer needs to chase because they are what they once sought. How would they breathe? How would they speak? How would they look around the room? How would they respond to a challenge? Consciously shift into that version of you, right now. Step 4. Anchor it with a declaration. Repeat the following phrase, not mechanically, but with full presence, with deep embodiment, with conscious choice. I no longer collapse the past. I tune into who I truly am. Again, I no longer collapse the past. I tune into who I truly am. Let those words be more than just a mantra, let them be a frequency. Let them cut through any residual old signal. Let them echo in your cells. You're not just saying them, you are becoming them. Because every cell in your body, every atom in your being, is listening. And more importantly, so is the quantum field. As you consistently vibrate as this new self, the field begins to rearrange around you. Possibilities that were once invisible to you begin to surface. People who resonate with your new energy begin to appear in your life. Your outer world doesn't shift because you begged for it or forced it, it shifts because you genuinely became someone new from the inside out. You are now walking in resonance, and that resonance is your new, palpable reality. And here's the final, crucial piece: ritual is not just a one-time event. It's a doorway, a frequency you consciously revisit every time that old self, that old programming, tries to make a return, because it likely will, not to sabotage you, but simply to be witnessed, to be reminded that you've outgrown it. And each time you choose again, each time you consciously realign, you reinforce that new, powerful vibration. So here's your ongoing practice: every morning, before the world rushes in, ask yourself, which version of me will collapse reality today? And then choose, consciously, lovingly, powerfully. Because when you do, you're not just changing your own life, you're literally changing timelines. And the ripple of that conscious choice moves out through the quantum field like a beautiful, coherent wave, reshaping what's possible, not just for you, but for every single life you touch. You've just reset your identity. You've collapsed the past. You've entered the field as someone new. When you finally, truly let go of who you were, reality begins to rearrange itself around who you truly are. Not someday, not after a year of hard work, but right now, in this very moment. Because the shift doesn't begin when the world around you changes, it begins when you change. And maybe, just maybe, for the first time in a long, long time, you're genuinely feeling it, that incredible lightness, that strange, beautiful mix of deep peace and exciting possibility, that inner whisper that confirms, yes, something profound has indeed shifted. That's not your imagination. That's the field responding. Reality has always been far more malleable, more fluid, than we were ever taught. Not fixed, not rigid, but dynamic, alive, and patiently waiting, not for you to chase it, but for you to simply tune into it. This is how quantum manifestation actually works. You don't drag your future kicking and screaming toward you, you rise to meet it vibrationally. You become the frequency of the life you desire, and the external world, by universal law, must conform. Not because it's magic, but because it's mathematics, it's physics. Because your vibration is the fundamental architecture of your reality. And when your vibration changes, your life simply cannot stay the same. Look around. Nothing in your external environment may seem dramatically different yet. But you are different. And that alone changes everything. Because from this point forward, every thought you choose, every emotion you consciously embody, every belief you reinforce is either aligning you with your new, expanded timeline or trying to call you back into the limitations of the past. And you've already made your choice. So now, the real practice begins. Not in theory, but in the living of your life. When an old, familiar emotion rises, you'll remember, this is not me, this is just a residue. When an old pattern tries to play out automatically, you'll pause and affirm, I no longer collapse that version of me. When fear whispers its old stories, you'll respond with calm presence. When doubt returns, you'll breathe deeper. You'll speak softer, yet with more conviction. You'll act from a place that your old self never even had access to. You are no longer broadcasting the past. You've changed your signal. And that change has consequences, beautiful, unimaginable, soul-expanding consequences. Some you'll recognize right away, unexpected clarity, elevated synchronicities, people showing up and responding differently around you. Others will be more subtle but just as real, a sudden, deep sense of alignment, creative ideas that flow effortlessly, moments of divine timing that confirm you're finally, truly walking in step with your authentic self. So, as we close this sacred container for today, I want to ask you something deeper than just a like or a subscribe. If this video truly woke something inside you, if it reminded you that there is a self within you that's not broken, not wounded, not stuck, but infinite, radiant, and whole, then leave something tangible in the field. Make your presence known. Speak not just to me, but to your future self, to the universe. Comment below, the old me has been released. Let it be your signature, your energetic stamp on the quantum field, a ripple, a vibration, a powerful declaration. And if this space, this experience, has felt like more than just content, if it has felt like a genuine remembrance, then please, come closer. This isn't just a channel, it's a frequency, a home for those of us who are consciously collapsing old timelines and boldly rising into the versions of ourselves we were truly born to be. So, subscribe, not just to stay connected, but to stay coherent, stay aligned, stay elevated. Because the real shift isn't just personal, it's collective. And the more of us who vibrate as our highest, most authentic truth, the more this world will begin to reflect that magnificent truth back to us. You are not alone in this. You are part of a vast field of beings awakening to their true quantum nature. And now that you've remembered, you can't forget. The old you has served its purpose. The new you is already living the next beautiful chapter. And reality? It's listening. We'll see you in the next timeline.